this project, I learned that it's a huge mitzvah to go around and influence other people to go serve Hashem. What stands out to me the most is that Hashem doesn't just magically give you things. You have to daven and do your part.
Aaron HaKohen was an amazing tzaddik. I learned from him never to be jealous because he wasn't jealous of Moshe Rabbeinu when he became a great leader among the Jewish people. Jealousy is horrible and you should never be jealous.
I learned from my project in Moshe that if you are modest, you get more room in your life for Hashem and other good things. I learned from Hannah how she just wanted a baby to serve Hashem and to be closer to him.
I learned from this project that humility is a very important midah. Har Sinai got to be the mountain who got the Torah because he was very humble, and Moshe got to give the Torah to the Jews because he was humble.
From my project about Shaul, I learned to see everyone in the good side, לדון לכל אדם לכף זכות, from one of the story of Shaul and David.
One thing that I learned from Aaron is to pursue peace. We learned that when two people had a fight, Aaron went to one person and told him that the other person wanted to make up. And he did the same thing with the other person. The next time they saw each other, they made up.
What I learned from my person Shmuel is about humility. When his master, Eli, had told him after Shmuel was hearing a voice, the third time that he had called, and he realized that it was Hashem, that you should go, and next time you lie down and hear the voice again, you should say, "Speak, Hashem, for your servant is listening." And Shmuel said that next time he heard it, but he just didn't say Hashem's name. Why? Because he was so humble that he didn't want to say Hashem's name in vain, because he didn't actually think that it was him.
Shmuel was a Navi. I learned that Shmuel was always humble and never took anything from anyone.
I learned from Miriam that all the women were so faithful in Hashem that they carried out tambourines to celebrate after they got out of the water.
What stood out to me the most in my project of Miriam was that a simple act, like waiting for Moshe when he was a baby, was rewarded by something so big, like Bnei Israel waiting for Miriam when she got to God.
Abigail was a prophetess in the time of Shmuel. We can learn from her to take initiative and do what's right because she saved her family's life, and when she found out that her husband was being ungrateful to David, she brought him a bunch of food.
Benot Tzlopchad were 5 daughters. Their father died and he had no sons, so no one got his inheritance. The daughters eventually went to Moshe and got the land. Something that really stood out to me was that they all went together and they didn't all fight to go to see who would go to Moshe. Something that also was really brave was that they went to their family to see if they had a valid claim before going to Moshe.
What I learned from Shlomo is to not be selfish. I learned this from the story from when Hashem came to Shlomo and asked him what he wanted. Shlomo was a young man and he didn't know how to lead a country. So he asked Hashem for the wisdom to lead the country in the right way. And Hashem thought this was so amazing because any of the other kings would have asked for riches or something for themselves. So Hashem gave him riches and wisdom and everything that he could have needed or wanted for himself.
Yehoshua helped Moshe lead Bnei Israel for a long time. We can learn many things from Yehoshua, like loyalty. Yehoshua went with Moshe everywhere he could, and even when something really special was happening to Moshe, like Hashem was revealing himself, Yehoshua was also there. We also learn not to give in to pressure, because when the 8 of the Meraglim were saying bad things about Bnei Israel, Yehoshua stuck with his word and still said good things about the land. We also learn respect, because in Sefer Yehoshua, there's a story. It says there was a king that wasn't being nice to the Jews, so Yehoshua was going to go kill the king. One of the servants found out that Yehoshua was coming to kill the king, and told the king. When Yehoshua entered the building, the king bent over as a sign of respect. Instead of Yehoshua letting the king die a painful death, he killed him instantly because he was bowing down as if he was bowing down to Hashem.
Yehuda was the 4th son of Leah and Yaakov. I learned from him to take full responsibility because he said he'd be a slave instead of Binyamin. I also learned from him to be a leader because he took Yosef out of the pit.
Ruth was the daughter of the king of Moab. There's a lot of things we can learn from her. One of the main things we can learn from Ruth is modesty. She was very modest when she gathered the wheat, and she bent down in a very modest way. She was even noticed by the owner of the field because of this. Another great thing we can learn from her is humility. Whenever she talked to anyone, she would always make herself seem unimportant and humble. As you can see, there are many great things to learn from Ruth, but these are 2 that stood out to me. What I learned from Eliyahu is to always do the right thing and to help others do the right thing too. Whenever someone was going on the wrong track, he always showed them where to go.
Sarah bat Asher was the daughter of Asher. She was a very important person. She is a person who told Yaakov that Yosef was still alive and in Mitzrayim. She did this by playing a harp and singing to him. This was so important that she went to Gan Eden alive and lived forever. From this I can learn the power of music and the power of song. She lived for so long that she went in from Israel with Yaakov into Mitzrayim and then out of Mitzrayim with Bnei Israel. She was the one who showed Moshe Yosef's tomb because she was one of the people who saw where he was buried. She was such a generous and pious person that she saved an entire city in the time of Yoav. From this I can learn the power of music and the power of her song, and that you can be so generous and pious.
Devorah was a prophetess in the time of Shoftim. We can learn a lot from Devorah, especially from her modesty. She would sit under Tomer Devorah, the palm of Devorah, so she would be transparent. Leaders nowadays can learn a lot from this midah.
Every girl researched her tzaddik or her tzaddikis, and every girl learned so much. I hope we can take these lessons and grow from them.